Hello everyone, Derek's Damn Toys, and we are back with another action figure review. Today we've got the Walmart exclusive Unmatched number 49 Wardlow here, up in the nice repainted purple gear. We'll get into that comment here in a moment, just to get a nice little gander at the box here. Nice little shout out to my cousin first and foremost for helping me get this bad boy. He was at a shop out nearby where he lives, and he pointed out that they had sold some wrestling figures there. Not a big selection, but a big enough selection. Had him look for me, and he saw this and a Batman Rey Mysterio, and I almost thought about copping them both, but realistically, the Wardlow I thought was pretty worth going out of my way for, especially mock. So, shout out to my cousin Ryan on that. But without any further ado, why don't we just get into the plastic prison and get him out of that shit, shall we? Alrighty, now that we've got Wardlow out of the plastic prison, let's take a nice little gander at his accessories before we do get into the figure, because if I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of things I do like about it after, playing a little with the figure off screen. We'll get into that though. First things first, of course, comes with two different sets of hands. You've got a set of grapple hands, as I call them, with the AEW figures, because those hands can't really hold weapons worth for shit. Unless they're the WWE weapons, then they kind of hold some of them decent. And then you've got a set of fist hands. Of course, one hand bare. One hand with the wrist tape, which is actually sculpted onto the hands, but not onto the wrist. So kind of a little whack thing there, but that's whatever. Not too many big brownie points going to be taken off for that. But these repainted head scans, man, I'm definitely digging how they did the beard and all the good jazz here with the fade. And if my camera would stay in focus, we'd be able to, point out everything really neat here. Oh, it's staying in focus for once, yay. Even just the little touches on, the eyebrows and the facial hair, it's all really nice, and both head scans do look like that. Speaking of, we've got the other head scan, which both head scans are just repaint, so keep that in mind. But both head scans still looking really clean. Though I do need to get the Wardlow in the red gear that's kind of like this, but just red where the purple is. And get the long-haired screaming expression. I feel like that would take some of the figure photography up to a whole new level. But getting into it, I'm just pointing it out real quick. I'm sure you can now notice how the wrist tape is painted on here, but on the hand tape it's also sculpted on there, just like his alternative hand. Now, the fun thing when it comes to this Wardlow compared to some of the other ones that you may own, you may not own, is he's got the special design on the torso and the knee pads. Of course, the boots are pretty plain Jane. You've got the War Dog. Yeah, that says War Dog, right? Yes it does, Derek. You can actually read today. It says War Dog on the back. You've got a little pinstripe on the side along with white outlining along the whole singlet, and technically you could say that on the knee pads as well, as it does have the under tape and back. The back of the knee pads are white. Couldn't speak for a second there, sorry for the yawn. And then he's got the wolves on the sides of his singlet there. Always a nice look, especially when it comes to a big man like Wardlow. This kind of singlet design and shit, man, honestly, it's pretty gas. Though, it is kind of weird to think about how not so shiny the singlet is in certain areas, because you look on the back of the box and you can see where the one has the normal design like here, But this one looks shiny as shit. Like, that one looks like the light was just hitting it right and it made it pop hard. I don't think you'll ever really be able to get that kind of feeling off of the finish on this figure. But, to be honest, that really isn't the biggest ordeal. But, with all that being said, one thing I can mention, because, you know, of course, standard AEW posing, but probably unlike most of the other Wardlows, this one's actually moving, like, really good. It doesn't just whip back on the arm. The legs are actually pretty stiff, you know. I think this man could actually hold a big boot pose and not have his ankles shatter. I don't know, I don't want to say that, because then his white boots here, you know, they might just stop working. But with that being said, let me go grab some of my other Wardlows and we can just kind of compare. Alrighty, you guys, we've got the other two Wardlows in my collection. I know I don't have the red one, so I don't really think I'm missing any. At least that I'm aware of, because, you know, the one in that 6-pack on Amazon is also the same one I'm talking about. But there is technically two different ones. You've got the one in the 6-pack and the one that comes in, what is it? The Unrivaled series. What is it? I think it's like 12? I'm not exactly too sure. I just know we have the Unmatched series 4, if I recall. And then we have the Unrivaled series 9. Like I said, I'm not too sure on the red one and what series that one is. That one might be like 13 for all I know. And realistically, this one could be 8. Feel free to correct me in the comments section below. But yeah, why I say this one is just kind of a simple-ish repaint is because the arms are pretty much the same exact ones off of the War Games Pinnacle gear. The feeling of this one, of course, you know, it is the same formula, etc. The only thing that's a bit different is the fact that this one doesn't have the knee tape. Instead, he has calf tape on his back leg. So you could say Wardlow's been wrestling injured this whole time. You've got this one, which doesn't have knee tape at all. But his gear is a little bit different, especially compared to the rest, as he's got wolves on it, on the purple gear. This one has the, like, MJF Lions crowns, and then this one has a gorilla on it. So, multiple different designs when it comes to Wardlow. Of course, his more recent stuff was this. Sad to see that Wardlow hasn't really been used too heavily on AEW, if I recall. But yeah, you know, I guess with that being said, why don't we get this Wardlow all posed up and we can, you know, just get into my final thoughts. Alrighty, now that we've got him all posed up, getting ready to hit the meanest F10 on Finn Balor known to man, what would I, you know, have to say about this Wardlow figure? Is it a must-buy? Is it a pass? Honestly, I'd say definitely if you don't have a Wardlow, grab it. Especially if you can find them at a decent price. Because I think on Walmart's app itself, he's like $30, I think it was, if I saw correctly the other night. Which is absolutely insane in my opinion. Especially when I want to say a lot of the aftermarket prices are listing him around 15 to 20 loose. And I think a little bit more, maybe about 25, 30 for him mock. Maybe a bit more. It depends on who you're buying it from. Of course, at the end of the day, though, would I say this is a must get? Even if you do have other Wardlows like I do? Yeah, I'd say this is a must get, to be honest, especially if you're like me, one of your favorite colors is purple. You might be a little bit biased to, you know, the liking of it, which you could say I have, I guess. I don't know, I really do dig this gear. I feel like it'd be a nice little replacement for the purple pinnacle gear, though I do love the purple pinnacle gear. Worst case scenario, shit, I could use the head scans off of this one for right now, and maybe use this as like a special attire ordeal, or something of that nature. Something like with the black attire too, as I would love to start using that one a bit more in the Fed as well, as I don't think I've ever used that once yet since I started doing the pick Fed. So, you know, maybe we'll just have to consider that, but at the end of the day, I'd say this is a must get. But when it comes to the 1 to 10 scale rating, what would I have to say about that there? Well, seeing on how it's just pretty much another Wardlow, there wasn't much unique about it, really. It's not like the red gear where you get the long-haired screaming expression, where, yeah, the head scan's kind of a reuse, but they do have a different hair model on the head scan itself. So, to me, I feel like that's where this figure may let some of you down, as you're not really getting anything new for the price you're paying, except for the repaint on the gear. But it is a really nice gear nonetheless. And, you know, honestly, on that note, I think I'm going to give this bad boy a good 7 out of 10. Just because there were some paint splotches here and there throughout the singlet. Nothing too major, nothing to go, like, cry about. But, of course, when it comes down to it, there just wasn't really anything new when it comes down to Wardlow. Like, the same hands, essentially, the same head scans, just a little touched up, a little repainted. Though I do appreciate it, I'm not giving you extra points on it, you know what I mean? And I think on that note, when it comes to the Meltzer rating, you know, the good old star rating, the 1 to Young Buck match, as I like to call it, what would you rate it? Obviously, I'm going to have to give it a good old solid, I think we'll say a good old solid 3.5 stars. You know, 3.5 out of 5 seems fairly reasonable, especially if we're scaling it at 7 out of 10. But yeah, you know, maybe feel free to let me know what you feel in the comment section below. And on that note, I do kind of want to get out of here. Tomorrow is going to be a fairly busy day, let alone just, you know, some of my in real life personal stuff. But should have at least 2 more figures coming tomorrow on top of this one, and a special one that will come right after this one. So if you're seeing this one now but there's no new video just yet, all I can say is just wait, because personally I know I'm excited to review it, so you might be excited to see it. And yeah, honestly, on that note, if you liked the video, feel free to like the video. But if you didn't, womp womp, I guess. But if you did like the video, feel free to go check out some of my other action figure content. You know, we do unboxings here. I'm sure some of you may have been wondering why there's a pair of sunglasses and a jacket over here, or maybe over here. It's because I was in the middle of doing a pick fed match, trying to finish it up before I, you know, technically move downstairs where I'm currently living, and not moving far, just moving into my own space, kind of having my own little bit of freedom there, I guess you could say. But yeah, you know, on that note, a little announcement: if I do end up finishing this match and then I gotta do the last 3 in the next place, I don't really see too much being different really about the setup. Maybe just the paint on the walls might be a tad bit different, just a forewarning. So part 3, or the last match of part 2 leading into part 3, I don't know. I'm kind of indecisive on how I exactly want to go about it. Do I do the 2 championship matches, do the last tag championship match, the battle royal, and the American Nightmare Open Challenge in one part? Or do I do the 3 championship matches in one part, and then the battle royal and the Cody Rhodes match? I don't know. I'll figure that out on my own. I think I talked enough about the pick fed. And with that being said, if you would like to, feel free to follow me on Instagram if you want. But a bigger favor, if you guys could, you know, you ain't got to, but it is free. Feel free to subscribe. After all, as I mentioned, it is free to subscribe. And at the moment, we are currently sitting at 260 subs as of, you know, recording this. Could have gone down, could have gone up. You never know with the unpredictable world of YouTube what to expect. I've had many a points where I lost subscribers, and I had many a points where I essentially regained all those numbers back plus some. So it's just been an interesting journey here throughout the past 2 years here on YouTube. And I guess, you know, with that being said, next goal is 300, just throwing it out there. No date in mind just yet. Maybe once we reach a bit closer, like we're at the last 10 or something. But yeah, you know, on that note, we are 40 subs away from 300, which is the next goal. So keep that in mind if you do subscribe. And I think on that note, have a good rest of your day, evening, night, whatever the case may be. I don't know, because I don't live in your time zone, and let's realistically be honest, I work overnight. So for me, I'm going to do these reviews up, and I'm going to hit the hay. I'm going to hit myself with a GTS and go the fuck to sleep. Anyway, on that note, deuces, ooses, yeet. He almost hit a F5, more like a Samoan drop though.